I'm so sorry you're joining us, Gary,
said a female voice. The face comes into focus and you recognize the woman.
Mrs. Baxter, where is this?
You're back in my classroom.
I'm very confused. What am I doing here?
She was the woman that taught you to read and write. But that was over 30 years ago.
We are just waiting for the rest of the class, and then we're going on a bus.
Yeah, in about 40 years if you're fucking lucky,
said an angry teenage voice.
Language, Jonathan.
What do you mean by 40 years?
we are all waiting for the rest of the class to arrive. 3 down, 21 to go. Wooty fucking do.
I remember you. You're Jonathan Bauer, you're that kid that drowned.
Yep, it's true what they say. That river is dangerous,
answered Jonathan with a wry smile.
Hi, I'm Gary. Who are you?
You don't remember me, do you?
said the boy.
I was only here for a week, before I got too ill. I died a few months later from leukemia.
I vaguely remember going to church, looking at a small white coffin. We were told you had become an angel. I was only 7, and I can't even remember your name.
Tim Harris, and I've been here for 30 years.
He has not put that time to waste. Look at the great work Tim has produced. He is a bright little student,
interrupted Mrs. Baxter cheerfully, pointing at the walls.
We do have a lot of fun here,
added Mrs. Baxter even chirpier. The look on Tim's face said otherwise. It spoke of a deep hatred that can only develop over a long period of time.
They're pretty good drawings, Tim. Very colorful.
Thanks, but I don't have all the colors. If you find any crayons, could you give them to me?
Conversations with Tom, by Angela Lockwood. Although they don't always understand each other, Jeff and Tom form an unbreakable bond. Language in the Blood, Book 1, by Angela Lockwood. Until the outbreak of the First World War, young Cameron Blair would have liked nothing better than to stay in Edinburgh and marry his childhood sweetheart. As the call to arms goes out, Cameron and his pals sign up to fight for their country. They are soon delivered into the nightmare of war, and there, Cameron more than meets his maker. Language in the Blood 2, Blood Ties, by Angela Lockwood. Locked up, his needs denied, misunderstood, the bored vampire edges closer to insanity. Before long, Cameron starts plotting his escape.
Here is the red crayon.
Thanks, Gary. Now I need a yellow.
What is this place?
We don't know. That bitch just gives us a blank stare if we ask her. I think it's what they call purgatory. We have to wait here, until the powers that be have decided to let us go up to heaven.
I'm not very up to date on religion, but isn't purgatory a place of suffering, where you have to atone for your sins?
Dunno, it seems terribly unfair, but here we are, waiting. Maybe this is just what happens when you die. You wait for the rest of your classmates, then a big bus takes you up to heaven.
Can we not just leave?
No, the windows are not normal.
Tim, can you help me?
Not at the moment, Gary.
John, do you have the yellow crayon?
Yes, I stole it off Tim's desk. I didn't like that creepy picture he did of me. I stuck it in my desk. I suppose you can give it back to him now.
Here is the yellow crayon.
Thanks again. Now I just need the blue one to finish this drawing. Anyway, changing the subject, what's it like then?
What is what like?
You know, did you ever do it with a woman?
Wow, you guys haven't experienced anything adult. Sex, work, and growing old, all denied to you.
Overcome with the pain for the two youngsters, you think of your own pain, of your own loss. You didn't mind dying, but leaving your distraught wife and young son with the chaos you left behind now grips you.
Yeah, I know. I know nothing of adult life, so tell me. I want details.
Tim edges closer, ready to listen.
I am married to Lisa. Was married to Lisa.
You pause as you catch yourself.
I had a 6-year-old son, Kevin, so yes, Tim. I have done it with a woman, and more than once.
You wink with a tear filling your eye.
So, how did you die?
You feel their urgency in wanting to know everything there's to know about being an adult male.
I was driving home from work and hit a patch of ice. Then out of control I crashed.
We know when you were lying.
Tim said, his blue eyes piercing into you.
I told you, I drove back from work and I lost control of the car.
We really do know when you were lying.
Echoed Jonathan.
Do you have the blue crayon?
I did, but Mrs. Baxter confiscated it.
Why did she confiscate it?
No reason. You know teachers. Anyway, tell us about Lisa.
Lisa is perfect.
Perfect. Are you sure?
You wanted the year before to be forgotten. Now these two boys were prying into your soul. They want you to dig up the final nasty chapter of your life.
After the birth of our son, things changed between Lisa and me. The boy took a lot of energy from both of us. My career had taken off, and I was working long hours.
You start describing the year that led up to your death. Aware of the boys' stern looks, you realize they would know if you lied.
She started to do more hours too, hoping to put her career back on track. We saw even less of each other. I initially thought this was normal.
Okay.
Now
Now
we're getting
somewhere.
somewhere.
The boys say in unison.
She became distant, and one time when I came into the room, I caught her hanging up the phone. I confronted her, asked bluntly if she was having an affair. Lisa denied it.
Go on, Gary.
Urged him in a way that made you feel very cold.
A fateful day she'd called, saying that she'd be working late. I waited outside the office and saw her and a man leaving. I followed them to a nearby hotel. My worst fears were confirmed. She was having an affair. Do you have the blue crayon?
Yes, I confiscated it from John. He was writing on the walls. There you are. It's in my desk.
Here is the blue crayon.
That is the drawing finished.
That's a pretty good drawing.
Yeah, I know. If you give it to Mrs. Baxter, she'll hang it up on the wall like the others.
Here is Timothy's drawing.
Oh good, I'll put it on the wall straight away. It's very good. It's a picture of you in your car, just before you died. Do you notice anything about it?
Let me see. Ah yes. When I drove home, my mind was in turmoil. The thought of her leaving me brought me to tears. I was going too fast and my vision was blurred with tears. The car skidded on some ice. I regained control, but then, in a moment of madness, I let go of the wheel and let the car run into oncoming traffic.
So, you killed yourself.
I guess so, yes.
You finally admit to yourself,
But you're still lying to us. We gave you time. Come clean with us.
said Jonathan, his eyes wide and dark in anger.
I don't know what you mean.
Look closely at the picture. Where was Kevin?
Demanded Tim.
Oh my god, Kevin, he was in the car?
Touching the drawing, you see Kevin was asleep in the back seat.
It was a spur of the moment thing. When Lisa called and told me she had to work late, I didn't call a babysitter. I put Kevin in the car seat and rushed to her place of work.
The boys looked at each other. You realize Tim and Jonathan are your judge and jury.
He'd fallen asleep. I was too wrapped up in my grief and anger. I had forgotten he was there.
The boys nodded to each other in agreement, and soon after the door opened.
Go, Gary. You can leave us now,
said Mrs. Baxter, trying to comfort you. You have left the classroom. To what, you don't know. The end.